shipping lanes in the entire world. The sea is calm, the day is totally normal, or so it seems. But something incredibly strange and absolutely terrifying is about to happen.
It all kicked off with a distress call, but not just any distress call. This was a message that came in fragments over the radio, each part more disturbing than the last. It all built up to this chilling final broadcast. Just 2 words. And then, complete radio silence.
So what was going on? Well, out of the blue, ships in the area started picking up a frantic SOS message. It was all in Morse code, the classic dots and dashes. Morse is great because it can cut through a ton of static. But what it was carrying that day was just deeply, deeply unsettling.
I mean, just look at how fast this thing went south. It starts off as a pretty standard distress call from a ship called the SS Orang Medan. They need a doctor. Okay, serious but manageable. But then the next message comes through, probably all crew are dead. What? The operator somehow manages to tap out the ship's coordinates, and then the final horrifying fragment. I die. And that was it. Nothing.
Luckily, that call for help didn't just vanish into thin air. The nearest ship was an American merchant vessel, the Silver Star, and its captain, realizing how serious this was, immediately spun the ship around and went full steam ahead towards the last known coordinates of the Orang Medan. They had no idea what they were sailing into.
So as the Silver Star gets closer, the whole scene just gets weirder. They can see the Orang Medan just floating there, and it's perfectly intact. But it's completely, utterly silent. No signs of a fight, no obvious damage, just a ghost ship adrift on the waves.
The crew of the Silver Star did everything they could think of. They blasted their horn, they yelled through loudspeakers, and got absolute silence in return. The ship itself looked fine. No damage, no fires. But the really strange part, no smoke was coming from its funnel. For a steamship, that's a huge red flag. It was like the whole vessel was frozen in time, but all the life on board had just stopped.
Okay, so after getting 0 response, the captain of the Silver Star makes a really gutsy call. He's sending a boarding party over to figure out what in the world happened on that silent ship. A small rescue team gets in a boat and heads over, climbing up onto the deck of the SS Orang Medan.
The second they set foot on that deck, they were met with a scene from a nightmare. The ship wasn't empty at all. It was covered in bodies. The entire crew of the Orang Medan was dead, scattered everywhere, on the decks, on the bridge, all over the ship.
But here's the thing that must have been so terrifying. This wasn't just a scene of death. Every single body was frozen in the exact same pose, a pose of pure, absolute terror. Their eyes were wide open, their mouths were gaping, their faces were all twisted up, looking at something that wasn't there anymore. It's as if they had literally seen something unspeakable in their last moments.
And this is the part of the mystery that makes no sense. Despite this horrifying tableau of death, the boarding party couldn't find a single mark on any of the bodies. No wounds, no signs of a fight, nothing. It was as if they had all been, well, scared to death.
And the details just make it even more disturbing. The captain, dead on the bridge. His officers, lifeless at their stations. The radio operator who sent those desperate messages was found slumped over his desk, his fingers still on the Morse code key. Even the ship's dog was found dead, teeth bared in a final frozen snarl at something.
The rescue team, completely shaken but still professionals, decided the only thing to do was to tow the ship to the nearest port. I mean, this ghost ship had a story to tell, and they had to get to the bottom of it. But as it turns out, the Orang Medan had one last, terrible surprise in store. Right as they're getting the tow lines ready, smoke starts pouring out of one of the cargo holds. Within minutes, it erupts into a massive fire. The boarding party barely had time to scramble back to their own boat before a huge explosion just tore the Orang Medan to pieces. And just like that, the ship sank beneath the waves, taking its dead crew and any answers right along with it.
So the ship is gone. All that's left is the eyewitness account from the crew of the Silver Star. There's no wreck to study, no bodies for an autopsy, no physical evidence of any kind. And so for more than 70 years, people have just been left to speculate, trying to piece together what could have possibly happened on that ship.
And right away, any official investigation hit a massive brick wall. Because when researchers went to check Lloyd's shipping register, which is basically the Bible for all commercial ships, they found nothing, 0. There was no official record that a ship named the SS Orang Medan even existed. It was literally a ghost ship.
Without any hard evidence, all we have are theories, and they really run the gamut from the totally logical to the, well, paranormal. The most grounded theory has to do with some kind of hazardous chemical cargo. Maybe the ship was smuggling something nasty, like potassium cyanide, which would create a toxic gas. That could explain the sudden deaths with no injuries, and an unstable chemical could definitely explain the explosion that followed.
Then there's a much darker theory, a secret military mission. What if the Orang Medan was transporting biological weapons developed by Japan's notorious Unit 731? This was a real and truly horrific research unit from World War II. A mission like that would absolutely explain why the ship was unregistered. It had to be kept off the books. And a leak of whatever they were carrying? Yeah, that could easily cause the kind of scene the rescuers found.
And get this, because this is where the story takes a turn toward a real-life conspiracy. In 2003, a CIA document from the 1950s was declassified, and it specifically mentions the Orang Medan incident. The fact that the CIA was not only aware of this story but kept a file on its secret for 45 years, well, that adds a whole new layer of mystery, doesn't it? It definitely suggests this was no ordinary freighter.
At the end of the day, that chemical leak theory is probably the most plausible one we've got. It's really the only explanation that neatly ties together the sudden, injury-free deaths with the fire and the massive explosion. But here's the catch. Without the ship, it's just a guess. It's impossible to prove. The real truth went down with the ship and is now sitting at the bottom of the ocean.
And that's really the lasting legacy of the Orang Medan, isn't it? It's a ghost story, a potential military conspiracy, and a maritime mystery all rolled into one. It's a chilling reminder that for all our technology and our records, some stories just disappear. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it, how many other secrets are still out there, lost somewhere in the deep.